So, you did it. You took the plunge and got solar panels installed on your roof. That is fantastic. But, now you're staring down a second decision, and this one might be even more confusing. Which battery are you supposed to pick to store all that amazing sunshine?
Yeah, your installer's probably asking you, so which one do you want? And suddenly you're getting hit with this barrage of words. Lead acid, tubular, AGM, gel, lithium. It feels like a pop quiz you didn't study for, right? It's a lot. But don't you worry, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a super clear answer.
Okay, let's start at square one, the absolute basics. What even is a battery? At its heart, it's just a little box that holds on to electricity for you. Your solar panels are cranking out power all day long, but what happens when the sun goes down? Or, during a power outage? That's when the battery steps in.
The easiest way to get your head around this is to think of a water tank. Your solar panels are like a pump, working hard all day to fill up the tank with water, or in our case, with electricity. The battery, that's the tank itself, just holding on to that energy. And your home, well, that's the tap, ready to use that stored power whenever you need it. Simple as that.
Now, as you can probably guess, not all storage tanks are created equal. In the world of solar batteries, there are really two main camps. You've got the established, old guard technology, that's lead acid, and then you have the modern challenger, lithium. Let's get to know them.
All right, first up in the ring, we have the tubular battery. This is a type of lead-acid battery, and it is an absolute workhorse. In many parts of the world, like in Pakistan, for example, this is the most common, most popular choice, mostly because it's known for being reliable and, maybe more importantly, affordable.
So if you go with a tubular battery, you can expect a pretty solid 5 to 7 years of life out of it. It has a cycle life, that's just how many times you can charge it up and drain it down, of about 800 to 1500. Now here's a really crucial point. Its depth of discharge, or DOD, is only about 50 to 60%. What that means for you is that you can only really use about half of the battery's total stored power without causing damage. And while it's pretty efficient, it does need a little bit of babysitting. You got to top it up with water every few months.
So what's the bottom line from the pros? It's pretty clear. If you're on a tighter budget, the tubular battery is a super dependable, widely available option that'll absolutely get the job done. It's the practical, no-frills choice for a lot of people.
Now, our friend the tubular battery has a few cousins in the old lead-acid family. You've got the traditional flooded lead-acid, and then the sealed AGM and gel batteries. These are all a bit older, and these days they're usually used for more specific, niche jobs.
So let's run through these real quick. The classic flooded lead acid, it's the cheapest you can get up front, but man, it requires a lot of maintenance. AGM batteries are sealed up so they're maintenance-free, which is great for small, simple backup systems. And finally, gel batteries are also maintenance-free, and they handle hot weather a little better, but they do tend to be pretty slow to charge.
But now, okay, let's talk about the modern challenger, the one that is completely changing the entire energy storage game, lithium iron phosphate, or LFP. And let me be clear, this isn't just a little upgrade. We're talking about a totally different, vastly superior technology. Let's just let these numbers sink in for a second. First up, lifespan. We are not talking about 5 or 7 years here. A lithium LFP battery can last 10 to 15 years, and honestly, sometimes even longer. That's double, maybe even triple the life of a typical lead-acid battery. And then there's the durability, a cycle life of up to 10,000 cycles. Just compare that for a second to the 1,500 cycles from a good tubular battery. I mean, it's not even in the same league. You basically install it and forget it exists for more than a decade.
And what about efficiency? How much of that precious solar power that you generate actually makes it out of the battery and into your home? Well, with lithium LFP batteries, you're looking at an incredible 95 to 98% efficiency. For every 100 units of energy you put in, you get at least 95 back out. That is almost zero waste.
And this brings us back to that really important idea of usable energy. This is where it gets really interesting. If you buy a 10 kilowatt-hour lead-acid system, you can only safely use about 5 kilowatt-hours of it. But with that same 10 kilowatt-hour lithium system, you get to use 8 to 9 kilowatt-hours. That is a massive, real-world difference in your daily life.
So, the verdict from the experts? It's unanimous. It's direct. They say, look, while the upfront cost is higher, the lithium LFP battery is without a doubt the best long-term investment you can make. If your budget can stretch, it's the definitive choice. Period. End of story.
Okay, so we've met both contenders. Now let's do the fun part. Let's put all the key data side by side, head to head, and see how they really stack up.
Just look at this chart. The numbers tell a really clear story. I mean, it's basically a knockout. Lifespan, lithium wins. Cycle life, a landslide victory for lithium.
Usable energy and efficiency, huge wins for lithium again, plus zero maintenance. The only, and I mean only, category where lead-acid wins is that upfront cost. But when you realize you'll have to replace it 2 or 3 times in a lifespan of a single lithium battery, well, suddenly that low cost doesn't seem so low anymore, does it?
Okay, that's a whole lot of data. So let's boil it all down. What does this all actually mean for you and your home? What should you choose? Honestly, it really just comes down to this. If your budget is the #1 thing you're worried about right now, a tubular battery is a fantastic choice. It's a proven, reliable workhorse that will serve you well. But if you can look at this as a long-term investment in your home's energy future, then lithium LFP is absolutely the way to go. The total value you get over its lifetime is just completely unmatched.
And hey, regardless of which battery you end up choosing, here are a few pro tips to help you get the most out of it, especially if you live in a hot climate. Always keep it in a cool, ventilated space. Heat is the #1 enemy of all batteries. Try not to drain it completely dry every single day. And a big one, make sure your inverter is compatible, because a mismatch can cause all sorts of damage. And please, never mix old and new batteries in the same system. That is just asking for trouble.
So in the end, this whole decision really forces you to ask yourself a more fundamental question. Are you just buying a piece of equipment, a short-term expense to get you through the next few years? Or are you making a strategic, long-term investment in your home's energy independence and its security? That's the real choice you're making.